Well, BK, it's crazy to just finally like really get like a one-on-one with you, like, because throughout my whole life, I heard about growing up. All I heard about was you and your brother, and it was like I didn't even at one point I'm like, is this guy even real? Because that's all I hear about growing up. You gotta, you know what I'm saying? But then when I seen the highlights, I have like at least 6 posters of you on my old
Oh
apartment
my
in
goodness.
Fort Greene.
Oh wow.
And I was just like, man, like, cause the thing about making it out of Fort Greene, it was kind of like an uphill battle. Cause I was like, do guys really make it out of here and go pro? Do guys really make it out of here and go Division 1? Do like do these big universities come here? And that was the main thing that was just so mind-boggling for me growing up. I always played in all the tournaments, but I was like, will I ever really make it out of here like Bernard King and his brother? And I met your brother, like I seen your brother many times. When I finally got a chance to speak with him, it was like, oh man, it was like I'm making my rounds. I'm finally getting around, and then I'm finally here, and I'm finally get a chance to talk to you and constantly see you. It's an amazing feeling. You don't understand.
Well, Taj, thank you so much for sharing that. I appreciate it. Obviously, I have so much respect for what you've accomplished during the course of your career, playing 10 years in the NBA. And obviously, I'm familiar with the same background that we each have, you and I,
Mm-hmm.
similarity, attending PS 67. And I don't know, there was a hoop in PS 67 when I attended there. It was on a stanchion in the lunchroom. Was that still there when you attended?
Yeah, yeah, that's where they had practices at.
Yeah, well, in fact, that's where I made my first shot ever in my life.
Wow.
As a basketball player, when I stayed there, constantly trying to throw that ball up to the hoop, hoping that it
Mm-hmm.
would go in, and would not give up. And one day it finally went in for me, Taj, and I never gave up on the game from there.
That's exactly where I got on my first team. It was Miss
All right.
Price. It was a gym teacher named Miss Price, and she gave me a shot to make her little basketball team. That was my first team I ever played on, and ever since then I was like, I got a chance. I mean, let me just keep trying. And but that school got a lot of generations. They got a
Yeah,
lot of generations that went through there.
yeah, there's a lot of history there, and I remember I went back at one point, a couple of points actually, and I also distinctly remember being in elementary school, and I was crossing guard. And
Mm-hmm.
they actually gave you these plastic belts you wear it around your waist and
Yeah.
over your shoulder. And
Uh-huh.
I had a little badge on there that was green, meaning that I was a sergeant. I don't know why, maybe because I'm tall. And but I went back. I recall, like unannounced. I didn't tell anyone that I was coming. I didn't announce it to the press, and I just wanted to go.
Oh
And
wow.
yeah, I asked security if I could go in and see the principal, and they allowed me to go in, and I sat there. And within 10 minutes, you won't believe what happened, Touch.
What happened?
They brought in my report card
Oh.
from elementary school, if you can believe that. And I said, I'm not sure if I want to see that. I couldn't believe they had it up from all those years from when I attended there as a little.
That's special.
Yes, it is.
That's
True.
very special. That just shows how much of an impact you have on us. Like it was like you hear from the first side all the way to the far side. Every
Right.
every basketball tournament, everywhere. You were the staple of what we were trying to accomplish. But then as young adults, like young guys, we was just looking like, really? Like you really think we can make it? It's like, yeah, he made it. You can make it out. I'm like, okay. They drilled that into us every summer because we used to be outside from sun up to sundown.
That's absolutely right. I don't know which building you grew up in, but I grew up in 79 North Oxford Walk.
Mm-hmm.
There was a court in the rear of my building as well as a full court in the front of my building. I don't know.
Mm-hmm. There's 2 courts over there. Yeah,
Yeah,
I won a couple tournaments over there. I lived on Navy Street. My
okay.
my building was at first I lived in 95 Navy Walk,
Right.
right next to you cross. You can either go to Farragut or you can either go to City Park. Then I moved to 125 Navy Walk, right in the middle of the first. They call it the first side, but to you guys, I call it the far side.
You know, you talked about all the tournaments that you played in. I as well. It had such a deep impact on me playing over at Sands Junior High School, playing over at Boys Club, Navy Yard Boys Club, as well as tournaments all over the city. I had a basketball mentor growing up.
Who was that?
Gil Reynolds with the Restoration Eagles was my basketball mentor that really disciplined me and everyone else on that team how to play the game fundamentally the right way.
Yeah.
Who was your basketball mentor?
At the time, my basketball mentor was Ed Booger Smith. He was the next up between him. I looked up to him and I would say Omar Cook. Those were the two guys at the time who had a lot of who's big names out of Fort Greene. And they basically, I watched them. I didn't never really talk too much because I was just always a sponge. I was just trying to soak up everything because my mom, because in Fort Greene, when you first come outside, your first couple of times coming outside by yourself, you're gonna fight every day.
Yeah, I know.
my first 5 times going outside without my sister, my mom, I was fighting every day. 5 fights a day. I was getting beat up left and right. So when I finally got outside, I was just trying to soak up everything out like a sponge and try to get better because I felt like I was so far behind on guys. And then that's how you mostly think in life all the time, but you got to put the work in.
No, you're absolutely right. And you talk about, unfortunately, we had to fight to protect ourselves growing up. Otherwise, the neighborhood bullies would just take everything that you had every single day.
Every day. Yeah. Literally every day. But then as time went on, I started slowly leaving from in front of my building to going to different sides. Then I got to your side. And I'm going to tell you, when I got to your side, the basketball players on that side were extremely advanced. And then they were physical.
That's right. The game was tough there.
And I was just like, saying to myself, like, how am I going to make it to the NBA with going through so many players like this? The world is big, especially for Green. And I'm like, it's an uphill battle, but I'm gonna make it happen. And that we here now.
You had to have a degree of toughness. And I always maintained, Taj, that it was tougher for me physically growing up playing the game of basketball than it was playing in the NBA. And the reason for that is we have referees in the NBA. On the playgrounds, there's no referees, so you have to protect your own self. And I attended Sands Junior High School. Did you?
My mom, they sent me, I wanted to go to Sands because everybody from 67 went to Sands.
That's where I went.
But for some reason, they sent me to 117 next to Lafayette Gardens.
Okay.
So when I got there, it was like a whole different like experience because I'm not just seeing my friends how I basically like grew up into in Fort Greene. Now I got to deal with guys from Lafayette Gardens, Marcy Projects, ball players from there now. So now I'm trying to make the team, and I didn't make the team my first 2 years at 117. I didn't make the team.
Well, I played at Sands Junior High School.
That's my mom. You went to school with my mom. Your brother went to school with my mom.
Yes, on the varsity team there.
Yeah.
And as you said, it was very tough. And I'll never forget the first formal team I ever played on, organized basketball, at Sands Junior High School. And it invited all the kids from the entire neighborhood to try out. And you had to line up and coaches picked the players that they wanted to participate on each particular team. And ironically, the team I wound up on, Taj, as a sixth grader, the only sixth grader in the tournament was Knicks. I had an orange T-shirt and the Knicks emblazoned across the front. And I had black sweat socks. Okay, not dress socks, actually. Black dress socks. And so I wasn't very good. I was in the sixth grade. I played with all the junior high school kids. And I wasn't allowed to play many minutes. And so I would be that last guy inserted into the game, the ones the fans cheer for. Put so-and-so in, put little spoil in. That was my nickname. And I never forget being inserted into the game. And I'm nervous as anything, Taj. And I take a shot, and I make the shot, and the buzzer goes off, and the game is over. We win the championship, not because of my shot, but we won the championship that year, and that was my first championship trophy that I ever won. Was at Sands Junior High School.
That's exactly. It's funny that you say that. It's almost similar because my first team in Fort Greene was at Sands. At Sands, they used to have the tryouts for Fort Greene Recreation. So when I went to Fort Greene Rec, the coach at the time was Ron Britt. And Celine. He told me, you know what? I'm gonna put you on this team over here. But I never been on a team. I never played. So it was similar. I had dress socks on and I had some low cut sneakers on. I didn't know what I was doing. I had some little tiny shorts because I didn't think I was going to even make a team. And they just threw me out there. I was tall, but I was the youngest guy in there. My job is to stand in the middle and hold my hands up. That's what they told me to do.
And I remember that trophy, and I was so proud. And I wanted to take that trophy home to mom and dad and show them that I won a trophy. And Taj, I came around the corner of the local grocery store there, right across the street from San Antonio High School. I'll never forget it to this day. I can see it now. And I got popped in my eye.
Oh.
Someone punched me in my eye, Taj.
Sounds about right.
And
sounds about right.
Trophy. Before I knew it, the trophy was gone. I was empty-handed. I went home crying, and I walked in the door, and my father looked at me, and my eyes all busted. And he said, take me outside to where it happened. And we went outside to where it happened, and, you know, obviously they're long gone. But I understood that there was a message there because he was a very quiet man and a very religious man, went to church every day, 7 days a week. And the message was, didn't say a word. Don't let this happen to you again. That's what the message was, and that's what I took from that. From that point on, I never allowed anyone to touch me again. And so I beat everyone's butt after that point. That bothered me, and then soon enough, everyone left me alone. But I'll never forget that trophy that I still miss to this day.
That's a crazy story. That sounds so much like around there. But yeah, that's exactly how my dad did the same thing. After my one fight, he came outside with me every time I had an issue, and he made me fight. And then after we fought, we shook hands. He said, "Nah, you're gonna go outside," even though he was completely tired because my dad was a carpenter, so he worked on his knees as far as just building things and different things like that. No matter how tired he was, from North Carolina, Hamlet, North Carolina, he would take me outside. He'd be like, "Who's bullying you? All right, you and him square up." And we would square up, and after that, now y'all go play basketball. Now it's over with, and that's how I was raised.
You know, what I want to know is this. What was your motivation to play basketball?
My motivation to play basketball that's a good question. My motivation was just the guys in the neighborhood. The guys in the neighborhood, I wanted to just prove everybody wrong because I was really alone all the time. I was by myself a lot.
You were a loner.
I was a loner, but I would just be outside by myself a lot, always playing the game. And I wasn't really focusing on little girls. I just loved the game. But then the tournaments came, and I saw the colors of the tournaments, and I was like, I want to do that. Every step of the way, I was just watching and like, oh, I want that. I would look at. I was a real basketball kid, like a junkie. You go in my room, I had posters of everybody, John Starks, Ewing, everybody, I had posters of everybody. And if you were from Fort Greene, oh yeah, forget about it. You can't tell me anything about that person.
Well, you know, the basketball was my refuge. Once I made that one basket in elementary school, I just wanted to make baskets over and over again, and I never wanted to give the game up. And it was my refuge. It's where I went to forget about everything. Didn't have to think about my surroundings. It was just that me and the basketball, me in the hoop, me in the court. And every day I just tried to get better every single day at the game that I truly love.
I got another question on my own. When you first hurt your knee, and I hear about that. Me and Tibbs talked about this. Ed Pigney, we talked about this. A lot of people around New York. How was that for you during that time?
Well, here's the interesting thing about it. The way I prepared for a game each day is the same way I prepared for practice. And so I practiced as I played the game. Mm-hmm. And so when I got hurt after that 24-hour period of self-pity, and I'm at the top of my game, I'm leading in scoring, voted most valuable player the preceding year, first team All-Pro. So I'm at the top of my game, and to be injured, and at that very moment that your career is over when you're injured in that way, I knew that. And so for 24 hours, I really cried about that. And then on my way en route to the hospital to have surgery, something clicked inside of me. And that something was this, Taj. I thought back to Fort Greene. Mm-hmm. I thought back to Brooklyn. Mm-hmm. And I thought, if I could make it all the way from there to the top of the world of the NBA, I can handle this. My heart is going to bring me back, no matter what they tell me. And so for that 2-year period, that's what I drew upon. And for each and every day that I worked with a physical therapist, I asked management, I said, please put all the equipment in my home when they came to see me in the hospital. Send a therapist to my home every single day, and I guarantee you I'll be back. Now, I have 41 metal staples running down my knee. But I'm going back.
It was different back then. That's what makes it so, like, I really want to know, because I know the surgeries was different back then.
Yeah, they reconstructed my entire knee. I tore my ACL, I tore my menisci, I broke a bone, and they reconstructed my entire knee. Wow. With a method that was really not that popular at that time. And 3 doctors told me I would never play again. I need the surgery just to walk again.
Wow.
I'm sure they told management the same thing. But I believed in my heart, knowing who I am as an individual, and knowing that I had the best medical team, and knowing that I had the best therapist, that I can certainly bring myself back. And what I did was this. Each and every day that I worked for 5 hours a day, 6 days a week with my physical therapist, I took this right hand and I patted myself on the back 3 times. And I would say, way to go, Bernard, way to go. And that's what I did every single day, 2 straight years of my life that I dedicated to making it back.
And came back getting buckets.
Yeah, the thing about it is, I say it was one of the best things that ever happened to me. Mm-hmm. As devastating as it was, my career possibly may have been over, but it truly was one of the best things that ever happened to me, because during that 2-year period, I started to expose myself to a lot of other things that I had not been exposed to, or would not allow myself to participate in. I developed an interest in art, started going to jazz clubs, started experiencing other things in terms of different types of cuisine. And so that time period I used for personal growth. And it's one of the best periods of my life, despite that. And the challenge of having to face what I did every single day, and I'm sorry, I don't think anybody else could have done it, to face that challenge every day of my own personal Mount Everest, as I called it, climbing just a little bit each day, and then closing that door to forgetting about it, that was one of the best periods of my life.
Wow. That's deep. So now I got the real answer from the real man himself. Because we all was like, how did he do that? And it was like, during those times, it was really hard to come back from that.
Nobody did. No one did.
Back, I was like, how did he do it, though? Like, well, still playing. How did you, like, your confidence was, you never lost any of the confidence as far as moving or just cutting?
No, not at all. One of the things about me in terms of what I used to do, I did not leave anything to chance when it came to playing the game. I played the game within the game. And what I mean by that is oftentimes you're going to take a shot and you're falling. So I would practice on my own when I was in the gym. I'd take shots falling down. I would practice shooting with my eyes closed, because oftentimes you don't see the rim if you have a taller defender like Mikhail, you may not see the basket. So I would practice shooting with my eyes closed. I would practice shooting with one hand. So if I'm bumped and I'm off balance, I'm still going to get that shot off. So I left nothing to chance when I played the game. And there's only 5 ways you can be defended. If if you're in the left-hand wing by a single defender. Force right, force left, playing tight, get the jump shot or overplay. That's it. Only 5 ways you can defend me. So I have a counter 5 moves to every your 5 defensive moves against me. So I tried to, my game was analytical. I didn't like to take risks. I didn't think that I was very creative. And so that's why I played the game. But back to your basic question. When I was growing up, I read psychology books. Mm-hmm. Mother would catch me in bed at night reading Flashlight. There was the library, as you remember, by PS 67.
Mm-hmm. It's still there.
Still there. I've been there a few times. And I would take out psychology books because I was trying to understand me and the world around me. And I didn't understand what was happening in my household. And so I would read these books at night, self-analyzing myself. And I grew from that. And that focus and that analytical approach to my life has taken me everywhere. And I still utilize it today. But that's what I utilized to play the game. And during that period, that's what I used. And nothing was going to stop me. I believe I'm capable of understanding and learning anything because I'm analytical. And I took that approach to returning to the game. So in terms of confidence, what I did is I would watch myself play before we go out and work in the gym when I arrived at that point with my physical therapist. And I would watch myself play. And each day I would go out and try to execute one of my moves once I made it to the court. And so it was almost like putting together a puzzle. Mm-hmm. And each day you bring in a new piece and you bring in a new piece until you finally get that complete picture. Mm-hmm. And so no, I had no loss of confidence. All I did was extend my game in terms of my jump shot. I became more of a long distance shooter as well as open floor and low block, but I knew I was going to have to take some more jump shots as well.
You set the groundwork for us, and we are really appreciative of you. We truly love you, and we can't wait to see you come back. That's one thing. Like, we definitely can't wait to see you come back. We'll figure something out, but we truly appreciate you from the bottom of my heart. Truly, from our family and the families of Fort Wayne, we appreciate you.
Well, thank you, Taj. I mean, that means a lot to me.
Nah, for real, from my heart.
Thank you.